They called her weak, because she was an Omega. They pitied her, because she was blind. But Elara was born with a gift the world feared. The power to hear emotions through a heartbeat. And far away, in a throne of shadows, lived a king cursed by the moon. A beast wearing the body of a man. A monarch whose heart beat twice. One for the Alpha he used to be. And one for the monster he was becoming. When destiny drags Elara before the cursed Alpha King, her world shatters. Because the moment she hears his heartbeat, the monster inside him goes silent. A blind Omega. A dying king. A bond written in blood and darkness. And a love powerful enough to break a kingdom. Or doom it forever. This is the beginning of a forbidden fate. This is where their hearts collide. They said a blind Omega could never survive the palace. But Elara hears what no one else can, the truth hidden inside a heartbeat. And tonight, the heartbeat calling to her belongs to a monster the world fears. Welcome back, Moonlight Dreamers, and if you're new, welcome to a realm where stories don't just entertain, they claim your soul. Before we begin, hit subscribe, like the video, and share this tale with someone who loves forbidden werewolf romance. The wagon jolts to a stop. Elara stiffens, fingers tightening around the rough wooden rail. Though she cannot see the towering palace rising above her, she feels its presence in the pressure of the air, heavy, suffocating, ancient. The guards whisper tribute, Omega, blind girl, but their words slide past her. Only one thing matters. A heartbeat. Not near. Not far. Somewhere deep within the palace walls, pulsing like a wounded beast dragging itself through darkness. She can hear every heartbeat around her. The guard whose pulse trembles with guilt. The servant hiding fear under a perfect bow. The noble sneering as if tribute is beneath him. But this heartbeat, this one is different. It thunders once, then falters, as though something is crushing it. Then again, deep and broken, echoing with rage so old it tastes like iron. The heartbeat of a king. No, the heartbeat of something trying to be king. A hand grabs her arm. Move, Omega. Elara steps forward, her bare feet brushing cold marble. The palace floor hums. Even the walls seem to tense as if aware of her presence. And then, the heartbeat grows louder. Stronger. Closer. It calls to her. It pulls her. She swallows hard. Who is that? The servant escorting her recoils. You hear, no. Impossible. No Omega hears him. Him, she whispers. The Alpha King, the man mutters, trembling. Cursed by the moon. Touched by madness. Stay silent, girl, or he'll tear. But Elara isn't listening. The heartbeat suddenly spikes, a violent surge like a beast slamming against a cage. Pain, fury, hunger, despair, all crashing through her like a storm of emotions she cannot shut out. Her breath stops. The world goes silent. His heartbeat stops. For one long, terrible second, nothing exists. Then, boom. It restarts with a violent roar, shaking her bones. Elara gasps, stumbling backward as if the force struck her physically. Somewhere deep inside the palace, a monster has awakened. The Alpha King's heartbeat is calling her name. His heartbeat is calling her name. Not with words, with rhythm, with trembling emotion, with a pull so strong Elara's knees weaken. The guards don't hear it. No one does. But to her, the palace vibrates like a giant drum connected to the chest of a monster she has never met. Elara. The whisper isn't spoken. It is felt, riding on the echo of his pulse. The servants freeze. The air grows colder. A heavy door groans open ahead of her, and a scent of smoke and winter fills the hall. Someone steps out, not with the steady confidence of a king, but with the unbalanced tension of a predator barely holding himself together. "Elara," the voice growls, this time spoken. Two guards shove her forward. "Bow," one snaps. "Do not raise your head." She does not bow, because she cannot see him. And yet, she feels him. His heartbeat slams through the air again, harsh, ragged, furious. But beneath that fury, something else beats quietly, fear. Not fear of her. Fear of being heard. He circles her slowly, every step heavy, calculated. "You reacted to my heartbeat," he murmurs. Omegas don't hear that. No one hears that. Elara lifts her chin. "I can hear what you try to bury." A sharp intake of breath. For a king feared across the realm, the sound is a startling crack in his armor. "You will not speak of such things," he snaps, voice hardening. "You will not listen to what is not meant to be heard." But Elara listens anyway. And his heartbeat betrays him, again and again. The anger is a mask. The intimidation is a shield. The cruelty is a trembling layer covering something rotting inside him. She reaches out instinctively, fingers brushing the air in front of her. Every muscle in his body coils. "Stay back," he growls. She stops. Not from fear, from the sudden wave of agony thundering through his chest. His heartbeat stutters. Cracks. Screams. Not from his mouth, from his pulse. She hears a darkness inside him gnashing at the walls of his soul. "You're cursed," she whispers. The chamber falls dead quiet. He freezes. Completely. The guards back away as if she has spoken a forbidden prophecy. The king's voice drops to a whisper. "No Omega speaks that word to me." "I don't need sight to know what your heart hides," she answers softly. "You're terrified." He grabs her by the wrist, gentle yet trembling, and lowers his head near hers, as if trying to determine whether she truly hears the beast inside him. "Elara, what are you?" She doesn't have an answer. But the palace does. Because at that moment, as midnight bleeds into the stone walls, his heartbeat suddenly splits. One rhythm, steady, human, pained. The second, deeper, violent, hungry. Two heartbeats in one body. Elara realizes she is standing before a king, and something inhuman growing inside him. Two heartbeats. One body. Elara stands frozen as the dual rhythm pounds through the chamber walls, one human, one monstrous. The king's breath comes sharp and uneven, as if he himself hears the split for the first time. But she doesn't just hear it. She can follow it. The second heartbeat pulses like footsteps inside stone, dragging, stalking, searching. "Elara," the king says, voice strained, "step away from me." But she moves closer. Because the second heartbeat is calling her deeper into the palace, echoing under the floorboards, through the pillars, like a trapped creature banging from inside his soul. She speaks without thinking. "It's not just a curse, Your Majesty. Something is alive inside you." His jaw tightens. "You do not understand." "I understand enough," she whispers. "That heartbeat isn't yours." A violent shudder rips through him. His hand clamps onto the throne as if he's fighting to remain upright. The guards panic, but the king raises one trembling finger. No one moves. Elara steps forward, drawn by the inhuman rhythm. Each pulse sends images into her mind, shadows pacing in a cage, claws scraping against bone, a snarl vibrating at the back of the king's spine. Her breath shakes. "There's a wolf inside you." His head snaps toward her. Silence. But it's too late. The second heartbeat surges, slamming against his ribs. A guttural growl escapes the king's throat, not fully human, not fully animal. His eyes flash with darkness. For one moment, Elara senses two beings trapped in the same skin, fighting for dominance. "What did they put in you?" she breathes. Enough. His voice breaks, sharp with panic. He snaps to his guards. Take her to the execution yard. Now. Her stomach lurches. The guards grab her arms. But the moment they drag her away, the second heartbeat roars. A blast of invisible force throws both guards across the chamber. Torches shatter. Stone cracks. The king collapses to his knees, clutching his chest, teeth bared in agony. I said. But his words choke into a growl that's not his own. Elara, run, he rasps. She doesn't. Because something enormous, ancient, and furious pushes against the surface of his body, a shadow of a wolf flickering behind him like a creature made of smoke and moonlight. The throne room temperature plummets. His shadow stretches unnaturally long, then rises. Two massive eyes form within it. Not the king's eyes. Not human at all. Elara. The voice isn't spoken by the king. It vibrates from the shadow itself. The shadow wolf growls her name, as if it has known her far longer than the king ever has. The shadow wolf's growl still vibrates in the cracked throne room, echoing through Elara's bones. Its smoky form looms behind the kneeling king, towering, shifting, breathing without lungs. The guards tremble. The council bursts through the doors, robes dragging, fear thick in the air. What is that? Contain it. Get the Omega out. The counselors retreat the moment their eyes meet the shadow's glowing gaze. One points at Elara as if she is the threat. Remove the girl. Now. But the shadow wolf reacts first. A cold wind whips around Elara, forming a barrier of darkness that stops the guards from getting within 3 steps of her. The room gasps as the monstrous silhouette bends low, head dipping toward her like a bow. The king's voice rips out, raw, half-human. No, not her. Not. He claws at the floor, trying to rise, trying to drag the shadow back into himself. But the creature refuses. Its presence coils protectively around Elara, a possessive shroud of smoke and hunger. The council stumbles back in horror. It has chosen her. An Omega? This is impossible, she's its anchor. Elara feels its pulse through the air. Slow, ancient, waiting. I didn't choose anything, she whispers. The shadow moves. And every heartbeat in the room stutters. The king manages to stand, shoulders shaking, eyes flickering between his own icy blue and the creature's molten gold. Elara, listen to me. You cannot stay near it. The closer you are, the stronger it becomes. And the weaker you get, she murmurs. His jaw clenches. He's trying to stay upright, but the shadow tugs at him like a chain. It's using you. I can feel it pulling toward you, like you're the only tether keeping it from ripping me apart. Then why doesn't it attack me? Elara asks quietly. That question freezes everyone. The council whispers frantically. She's manipulating the curse. Or worse, bonded to it. We must remove her before. The shadow slams into the floor, cracking stone, and the entire council goes silent. Elara steps forward, guided by instinct, not sight. Her fingers graze the air where the creature's face might be. The darkness bends under her touch, almost gently. The king's voice breaks. Stop. You don't know what it is. What it wants. She tilts her head. Then tell me. He hesitates. The shadow doesn't. A voice that feels like wind against bone whispers through her mind. Anchor. Her breath catches. The word isn't spoken aloud. It's inside her. The king staggers, clutching his chest. It's choosing you. And I can't stop it. Elara's pulse races. The council panics. We're doomed. The curse has found its vessel. She must be executed before But Elara doesn't hear the rest. Because beneath the chaos, beneath the trembling heartbeat of the cursed king and the bone-deep thrum of the shadow wolf, another rhythm begins. Soft. New. Impossible. It pulses from her own chest, a third heartbeat, faint but real. Elara jerks backward, one hand pressed to her chest as the new heartbeat thunders through her. It isn't hers. It isn't human. And it isn't the king's or the shadow wolf's. It is something else. The council recoils as if she's suddenly become a living curse. She's merging with it. She must be restrained. She'll tear the kingdom apart if. Elara barely hears them. The rhythm inside her keeps growing, vibrating beneath her ribs like a second soul awakening. The king stumbles toward her, breath uneven, face pale. Elara, look at me. I can't, it's too loud, she whispers, trembling. Everyone's hearts. I hear them all. And she does. Every guard outside the hall. Every servant in the corridors. Every beast in the palace grounds. Their fear, confusion, anger, each emotion hits her like waves crashing through her fragile senses. Her breath snaps short. She clasps her temples, shaking. Make it stop, please, it's too much. The king reaches her, but the shadow wolf inside him recoils from her rising pulse, as if sensing something that even it fears. You're tied to my curse, the king says, voice rough. I feel it in my blood. Whatever is waking inside you is feeding from me. She shakes her head. No. It's feeding from the whole kingdom. Because with every passing second, she feels them all more clearly. The sorrow of the widowed nurse 2 halls away. The simmering rage of the beta general. The jealousy of the maid who wishes she had been chosen as tribute instead. Their emotions ripple through her body like threads she never asked to hold. The king's eyes widen. Elara, you're becoming a conduit. I don't want this, she gasps as another wave of emotion slams into her, forcing her to her knees. I can't hold an entire kingdom's pain. The heartbeat inside her flares, stronger, faster. The floor vibrates. The torches flicker. The shadow wolf snarls, unsettled for the first time. The council panics. She's awakening. She'll destroy us. End her before the curse consumes everything. The king spins toward them, voice thundering. No one touches her. But even as he stands between her and the council, something is wrong. His heartbeat, human and monstrous, begins to falter. Elara senses it before anyone else. A sharp, tearing pain shoots through her chest. Your heart, it's slipping. The king sways. The curse is shifting. It's reacting to you. He takes one step toward her. Then another. And then his body convulses. Elara, he breathes, reaching out as if she's the only solid thing in a collapsing world. She tries to push herself up, but the overwhelming wave of emotions hits again. Your Majesty, don't. His knees buckle. The throne room gasps in unison. The king crashes forward, collapsing directly at her feet. The king collapses at her feet. The king's body hits the cold marble with a dull thud, his breath shallow, his pulse spiraling out of rhythm. The council erupts into panic, but Elara hears none of it, only the frantic, fractured beats of his heart. 2 rhythms. Both failing. She drops beside him, fingertips trembling as she touches his wrist. The moment her skin meets his, a violent surge of memories slams into her senses, visions not her own. A bleeding battlefield beneath a shattered moon. A massive white wolf howling in grief. A fragile Omega woman dying in its arms. The images rip through her mind like lightning. Elara, the king gasps, as though feeling the visions with her. His hand clamps around her wrist, desperate, burning. Don't, look. But it's too late. The heartbeat inside her synchronizes with the echoes of the past, forcing the truth into her consciousness. A great Alpha ancestor once loved an Omega so deeply, so fiercely, it fractured the moon itself when she was killed. His grief birthed a curse, a shadow wolf forged from devotion twisted into madness. An eternal echo of a love too strong for the world to hold. And now, the curse has found them. Elara. The king's voice cracks with fear he never shows. You're seeing it. You're seeing him. She leans closer, fighting the waves of emotion flooding her mind. Your ancestor created it, because he couldn't let go. No, he rasps, shaking, eyes fever bright. Because he loved too much. And every Alpha who loves with the same depth, pays the price. A shiver runs up her spine. So the curse awakens when the heart loves beyond control, he finishes, barely breathing. And it knows I. He stops himself, jaw clenching as if the truth is forbidden. Elara swallows hard. The kingdom's emotions, still roaring through her, press against her skull like a storm, but the king's emotions stand above all of it, fear, longing, and something deeper he refuses to name. A guard reaches for her. Omega, step away from him. The king's eyes snap open with primal fury. Touch her and lose your hand. The guard freezes. Elara cups his cheek despite the council's horrified gasps. Your heartbeat is collapsing. I can hear it pulling apart. His breathing stutters. The shadow, it's reacting to you. Fighting me. Wanting. He arches in pain, claws ripping from his fingers. The shadow wolf's heartbeat rips loose inside him like a beast breaking its cage. Elara cries out as the emotions of the entire kingdom spike in terror, slamming into her all at once. Her vision swims. Her knees buckle. And then, a cold wind sweeps the room. The torches bend sideways as if bowing to a presence unseen. Elara's breath stops. Not because of fear. But because something ancient has turned its attention toward her. Something older than kingdoms. Older than wolves. Older than the moon that still bears the scar of its grief. The king chokes out a warning. Elara, don't let it in. Too late. Darkness swallows her. Not the peaceful kind, this darkness breathes. Elara feels claws scrape the inside of her mind, not harming her, but circling, studying her. A giant heartbeat booms in the void, strong enough to shake her bones. It is not hers. And it is not the king's. It is the shadow wolf. Elara. The voice crawls through her thoughts, ancient and aching. You hear him. Now you will hear me. She tries to scream, but the darkness tightens around her, not cruel, almost, claiming. Then, with a thunderous jolt, she wakes. But she is not in the hall. She is in her chambers, lying on a soft bed, drenched in sweat. And inside her head, echoing like a drum in a cavern, the king's heartbeat. Slow. Heavy. Fractured, yet unmistakably alive. Her breath catches. Why can I hear you? Across the room, a chair scrapes against stone. She gasps. The Alpha King sits in the shadows, his hands buried in his hair, his posture tense, as though holding himself together through sheer force. He lifts his head. Elara, he says quietly, can you hear me? But she doesn't hear his voice. She hears his heartbeat answering her. A steady thump that aligns with her pulse. Connected. Her heart lurches. Your heartbeat is inside my mind. His jaw tightens. I know. He stands, and the air cracks with power, raw, unstable, pulled in two directions. I feel your fear. Your shock. Your confusion. She retreats a step. You shouldn't be able to feel anything from me. Yet I do. He inhales sharply. Your emotions run through my veins like they're my own. Elara's knees weaken. Unintentional bonds are the rarest, and the deadliest. He approaches slowly, each step heavy with a heartbeat she feels vibrating in her ribs. This wasn't your doing, he tells her, voice low. It wasn't mine. It was the shadow. The moment he says it, a pulse of dark energy ripples between them, tugging her closer. Elara clutches her chest. Why does it feel like something is pulling me toward you? His eyes flash silver. Because the bond isn't just emotional. He stops only inches away, breathing her in like she's the only air he trusts. It's physical, he murmurs, almost tortured. And it won't let me walk away from you. Elara's trembling fingers lift to her temples. She can feel his heartbeat inside her mind, but under it, a second echo. The shadow wolf. Watching. Waiting. Tell me what you sense, he demands gently. She swallows. I hear your fear. He flinches, as though she touched a wound. And your longing. She freezes. For something you think you can never have. His breath stutters. Elara, he whispers, stop. But the bond doesn't stop. It tightens. Her emotions spike, fear, confusion, heat, and the king's entire body reacts as if struck. His hand shoots forward, gripping the wall to steady himself. Elara, whatever you feel, I feel, he rasps. If you panic, my body panics. If you fear, I fear. If you... He cuts himself off, trembling. Their bond surges. Their heartbeats merge. And then... the world tilts. He moves before he can think. Before she can breathe. Before either of them can resist. The bond seizes control of his body like a puppeteer wrapping strings around his spine. Elara, he whispers, horrified. Run. But she can't. Neither can he. His hand slides to her cheek, slow, unwilling, yet unstoppable. His eyes widen in terror as he feels it happening. Elara. I can't, stop. The bond pulls him forward. The bond forces the king to kiss her. His lips crash against hers, not out of desire, not out of choice, but out of a force neither of them can control. Elara gasps into the kiss, hands trembling against his chest as something ancient surges between them, something that feels like lightning and shadows braided together. The king grips her waist, pulling her closer even as his entire body shudders in resistance. Elara, pull away, he tries to growl, voice muffled against her mouth. I'm trying, she breathes, but the bond won't release them. They are held in place by invisible chains, heartbeats pounding in a single rhythm, breaths catching together, the shadow wolf inside him snarling with a hunger Elara doesn't understand. Then. The bond snaps. They stumble apart, gasping. The king's hand flies to his mouth, horrified. Elara clutches her chest as if to tear out the shared heartbeat still echoing in her ribs. Silence. Then. A roar. Not the king's. Not the shadow wolf's. A roar rising from the kingdom outside. The king stiffens. The palace is surrounded. The doors tremble. Voices shout. Steel clashes. Elara, he breathes, the kingdom believes I've lost control. She can hear it, dozens of heartbeats pounding with fear, fury, and desperation. The whole palace feels like a single trembling creature. The king moves to the window, jaw clenched, silver eyes burning in the moonlight. They think the curse is consuming me. And when they saw you brought to the palace, an omega with strange gifts, they assumed you were part of the corruption. Elara steps forward, her voice trembling. Then let me speak to them. I can hear their fear. I can. No, his voice is a whip. They won't listen. They want your head before they want the truth. Her breath hitches. You're saying they'll kill me. They will try. His voice breaks at the last word. Before she can reply, another surge of pain hits him, sharp, violent. He grasps the edge of a column, fingers digging into stone as his spine twists unnaturally. The curse, Elara whispers. It's getting worse. No. Not worse. Different. He growls, a mix of agony and something feral. His heartbeat splits again, but this time Elara hears a third echo. A new pulse. A new rhythm. Not human. Not wolf. Something evolving. Elara, his voice is raw. Stay back. But she doesn't. She steps forward, reaching blindly for him, following his heartbeat. The moment she touches his arm, the world flashes white. A vision explodes behind her blind eyes. A shattered moon. A bleeding sky. A throne made of bones. And the king standing alone in darkness. With her hand in his. She gasps and collapses. When she wakes, the king is holding her, heart thundering with terror. Elara? Elara? What did you see? Her lips tremble. The curse isn't consuming you, it's changing form. The palace doors slam open. Loyalists rush inside. My king. The kingdom is rebelling. The moon. The moon what? The king snaps. The guard points behind them, voice breaking. The moon, it refuses to shine on us tonight. Elara turns her face upward, sensing the sky shift. Feeling the air tremble. Hearing heartbeats across the kingdom freeze in dread. The king steps to the balcony. And the world stops breathing. The moon looms overhead. Once silver. Now dripping red across the clouds like fresh blood. The moon turns blood red. The blood-red moon bleeds across the sky, dripping its crimson glow over the palace balcony. Elara feels the world shift, heartbeats across the kingdom stutter, terrified, as though the sky itself has begun to hunt them. The king's breath leaves him in a shudder. The moon hasn't turned red in centuries. Elara steps toward him, blind eyes lifted to the trembling air. This isn't the curse growing, it's answering something. He stiffens. Answering what? Before she can speak, the floor beneath them cracks, dark smoke coils upward, cold as grave dust. Elara's lungs seize as the temperature drops, the king pulling her protectively against his chest. A voice rises from the smoke. Low. Ancient. Echoing inside her skull. At last, the girl who hears hearts. The king draws his claws, but the smoke ignores him entirely. It coils around Elara like a serpent made of memories and nightmares. Elara, he warns, stay behind me. She shakes her head. It wants me. The smoke gathers, shape forming, shoulders, a head, a wolf made of shadow and broken starlight. It does not have eyes, but she feels its attention like icy fingers on her pulse. You, she whispers. You're the shadow inside him. No, it murmurs. I am older. I am the curse he carries. And you, Elara, are the one who woke me. The king growls, voice dropping to something inhuman. If you touch her. You are barely holding yourself together, boy, the shadow snarls back. Do not pretend you control me. Elara flinches at the sound. Not because it's loud, but because it has two heartbeats layered beneath its voice, one ancient, one hollow. She steadies her breathing. Why are you showing yourself now? The shadow leans close, its cold presence brushing her cheek. Because only you can break me. Her pulse jumps. How? A trade. The king snarls. She trades nothing. But the shadow ignores him. You can free him. Free the bloodline. Free the kingdom. Elara's voice cracks. And the cost? You give me what I lost. The world stills. What did you lose? She whispers. The shadow's form trembles. My name. My soul. My place in the moon. A beat. And if you restore them, one of you must die. The king steps in front of her instantly. No. She won't choose. The shadow laughs. She already is. Then everything explodes with darkness. The smoke surges, slamming into the king. He chokes, claws scraping marble as the shadow forces itself back into his body, tearing through him like a second spine. Elara screams his name, reaching for him blindly. His heartbeat stutters. Skips. Then roars, louder than a storm. He gasps, falling to one knee. Stay back, he growls, voice split between his own and something jagged. I'm changing. She crawls to him anyway, placing her trembling hands on his cheeks. Listen to me. I'm here. I'm not leaving. But the heartbeat inside him, the one she has followed since the first moment they met, twists. Stretches. Breaks its shape. No longer a wolf's rhythm. No longer a man's. Something new. Something unnatural. His breath rattles, and when he finally lifts his head, Elara hears it. For the first time. His heartbeat is not a beat at all. It spirals. A pattern not meant for any living creature. His heartbeat changes shape entirely. You're the only thing left that feels real. She swallows hard. The shadow inside him quiets, almost purring. Elara, he whispers again, but this time his voice deepens, thickens, claiming something he shouldn't be able to claim. His lips graze her temple. Mate. He calls her, mate. The word mate was still echoing in the air when Elara staggered back, her breath caught between fear and an ache she didn't want to name. His voice had been deeper than before, layered, as though two beings were speaking through the same mouth. The king, and the thing inside him. Elara, he breathed, stepping toward her. She felt the shift in him again, the confusion, the hunger, the desperate pull, all of it crashing into her own chest because the bond didn't just connect them anymore. It merged them. A sudden pulse stabbed through her sternum. Her knees buckled, and she grabbed onto a pillar to stay upright. Elara. His tone changed instantly, sharp, panicked, human. She shook her head, gasping. Something's wrong. My heart. But it wasn't her heart. It was their heart. The bond's threads tightened, burning inside her veins like molten silver. She felt his memories flicker over her senses, flashes of moonlit wars, a boy kneeling before his father's grave, a crown placed on trembling hands, loneliness so vast it felt like snow falling endlessly. The king clutched his head as she gasped in pain, mirroring each other's agony. I'm hurting you, he whispered hoarsely. The bond is draining your life. I have to break it. She shook her head violently. If you break it now, the realm collapses. The spirit said so. He froze. She felt the word realm ignite something ancient in him, duty battling desire, fear battling instinct. Elara, you're dying, he said, and the rawness in his voice nearly shattered her. Her breath trembled. Then let me choose how I die. His head snapped toward her. That wasn't what she meant to say, but the bond was dragging her truths out of hiding. She felt his reaction, a storm inside him, violent and terrified. Elara, he whispered, stepping closer until she felt the heat of his breath against her temple, I will not lose you. Suddenly the air shifted. A cold wind curled around them, carrying whispers from the spirit realm. The torches flickered blue. The shadow living inside him stirred, stretching like a beast waking. She is ours, it hissed through his voice. Elara's heart seized. Then. Thump. It restarted. But not alone. Because his heartbeat suddenly echoed inside her chest, not beside hers, but with hers. The two rhythms overlapped, synchronized, fused. Her vision blurred, not from fear, but from something far more profound, far more frightening. "Elara," he breathed, touching her cheek as if afraid she would vanish. "Do you hear that?" She did. Their heartbeats were no longer separate. They were one. Their merged heartbeats once more, a single, unified rhythm, and Elara realizes she can no longer tell which heartbeat originally belonged to her. Elara gasped, her fingers trembling against the king's chest as the single merged heartbeat thundered between them. It felt too loud, too powerful, as if the pulse itself were alive and choosing its own path. The king's eyes widened, not with fear, but with the eerie calm of someone losing his grip on reality. "Elara," he whispered, "if our hearts are one, then whatever happens to me." "Happens to me," she finished. Before he could speak again, a violent boom ripped through the palace. The walls shook. Screams rose from the corridors. The king stiffened. Elara felt the recognition surge through him, the instinct of a ruler who knew exactly what kind of chaos that sound meant. "The rebels," he growled. But it wasn't the king's growl. It was deeper. Rougher. Wrong. Elara stumbled back as a ripple of shadow crawled up his spine, distorting the air around him. His heartbeat, their heartbeat, slammed against her ribs, frantic, unstable, as if fighting something inside him. "Stay behind me," he said, but the voice didn't match the eyes. His irises flickered gold, then black. Another explosion shook the palace. Doors burst open as guards rushed in. "Your Majesty! The Eastern Gate, they've set it on fire. The rebels are inside the throne hall." The king turned sharply, shoulders rising, posture shifting. For a moment, Elara wasn't sure if she was looking at a man, or the shadow wolf wearing his skin like a fragile disguise. He let out a low snarl. The guards recoiled. Elara stepped forward instinctively, the merged heart pulling her toward him even as danger screamed for distance. "Focus," she whispered. "Stay with me. Stay you." He reached for her, fingers trembling, but another explosion cracked through the ceiling, raining dust. A terrified cry sounded from the courtyard. That was the moment the king snapped. His head jerked toward the screams. Muscles bulged under his skin. Black marks spiraled up his throat like living ink. Elara felt a surge of hunger, not hers, crashing through the bond. The beast inside him smelled fear. And wanted it. No. Elara grabbed his arm, but the contact sparked a burst of energy so violent she cried out. Shadows rippled from his skin, warping the air. The palace doors shook again as rebels stormed toward them. She heard a shout, "Kill the monster. Free the realm." The king's jaw cracked unnaturally as the shadow inside him surged forward. Elara stepped between him and the approaching rebels. "Stop," she shouted. The rebels froze, but only because they finally saw what was happening to their king. He wasn't shifting. He was transforming. The shadow wolf's outline pressed beneath his skin, stretching it, twisting it, almost bursting through. "Elara, move," one guard begged. "He's losing control." "No," she whispered. "He won't hurt me. I won't let him." But the heartbeat wasn't steady anymore. It pounded erratically, like two hearts fighting inside one body. The king let out a roar so deep the floor vibrated. "Elara, go," he choked out, barely human. She shook her head. "I'm not leaving you." His spine arched. His claws extended. His eyes turned fully black. A blast of shadow exploded outward, knocking everyone except Elara to the ground. And then the king's body stilled. Straightened. Lifted his head. But it wasn't him anymore. The shadow wolf's voice rolled from his throat, ancient and victorious. "At last. I am free. The shadow wolf takes full control of the king's body. The throne room fell silent. Shadows coiled around the king's body like living chains, twisting his silhouette into something feral and ancient. The rebels, guards, and servants who had survived the blast scrambled back, pressing against the broken pillars. No one dared breathe. Except Elara. She stood alone before the creature wearing her king's skin. The shadow wolf turned its head toward her. The motion was wrong, too smooth, too predatory. Black eyes, empty as a moonless night, locked onto her face. Elara, it said, savoring her name like a threat. The blind little Omega who dares to stand before me. Its voice was the king's voice layered with something far older, something shaped by centuries of hunger and grief. Elara felt the merged heartbeat slam inside her chest, frantic, tangled, spiraling. It wasn't one heartbeat anymore, it was a battlefield. You aren't free, she said quietly. You're hurting. You're trying to escape what you can't outrun. A low growl vibrated through the room. You presume to understand me. I hear you, she whispered. The shadow wolf stilled. I hear everything inside him. And inside you. The creature's shoulders tensed, shadows shifting like liquid rage. What could you possibly hear except fear? Elara stepped closer, against every instinct, every warning, every terrified gasp behind her. She pressed her hand to her chest, feeling the double heartbeat reverberate. I hear longing. Her voice trembled, but her conviction did not. The shadow wolf flinched. For the first time. Elara, a guard whispered in horror, you're provoking it. No, she whispered. I'm reaching him. The beast snarled, but its snarl broke halfway, warping into something uneven, almost wounded. You lie, it hissed. He feels nothing. He remembers nothing. I made sure of it. Elara tilted her head, listening deeper. No, she whispered. You didn't erase everything. You couldn't. Because you were born from his blood, but also from his love. The creature froze, shadows trembling like a rippling veil. Elara, stop, it growled. But the growl was unsteady. Elara took another step, now close enough to feel the cold of its corrupted aura. Her voice softened. You feel it too, don't you? His longing. His ache. The way he reaches for me even when he's drowning inside you. The creature's jaw twitched. Its form shuddered. Elara, it snarled, do not. But she didn't stop. She reached out, blindly, until her fingertips brushed the back of its shadow-wreathed hand. The darkness hissed around her skin but didn't burn. Not this time. You're both hurting. Both trapped. Both loving too deeply. The beast's breath hitched. And then. Its head jerked back violently as if something inside it ripped upward. A guttural snarl tore from its throat, loud enough to shake dust from the ceiling. Its claws dug into the stone floor, cracking it. Elara stood her ground. Listen to your heartbeat, she whispered. The creature staggered. A sound escaped it, not a growl, not a roar. Something closer to a sob. The shadows flickered. For a split second, gold broke through the black in its eyes. Elara. The voice was shredded, strangled, buried beneath layers of monster. But it was him. It was the king. The rebels gasped. The guards fell silent. Elara felt her knees weaken at the sound, at the impossible, desperate way he forced his name through the beast's throat. But before she could answer, the shadow wolf roared, furious, shaken, terrified of losing control. The black swallowed the gold. And the creature lunged toward her, claws outstretched. The king whispers her name through the monster's growl. The creature launched itself at her, claws shredding the air. Gasps echoed behind Elara, guards shouting, rebels screaming for her to run, but her feet did not move. Because the moment the shadow wolf touched her, everything went silent. Utter, crushing silence. No heartbeat. No breath. No sound of tearing stone or screaming men. Only a void, vast, dark, endless. Elara was no longer in the throne room. She stood in a world made of shadows. A world inside his mind. Black fog curled around her ankles, cold enough to bite. Above her, a sky without a moon stretched on forever. Behind her, distant echoes of memories drifted like broken whispers, laughter splintered by screams, a child's cry buried beneath the roar of a beast, flashes of silver fur and blood-soaked snow. Elara. That voice, raw, trembling, came from everywhere and nowhere. She turned. There he was. The king. But not as she knew him. He stood shirtless, exhausted, chained by massive black links that emerged from the ground. His eyes glowed faint gold, dim and flickering, as if barely alive. His chest heaved with each breath, and a monstrous shadow loomed behind him, snarling, fighting the chains that held it back. Elara, he whispered again, voice cracking. You shouldn't be here. It's not safe. She approached him slowly, feeling the fractures in his heartbeat, not physical, but emotional, spiritual, ancient. I'm exactly where I need to be, she said softly. His head dropped, and he let out a broken laugh. You always hear too much. And you always hide too much. The shadow behind him lunged, the chains barely holding. Its eyes were the color of void, its fangs dripping pure darkness. Elara, go, the king choked. If it breaks free. It already has, she said. In the real world. His eyes widened. No. Elara placed her hand over his heart. She felt the faint rhythm, weak, fading, but still there. I'm here to save you. The heartbeat stuttered. Darkness surged around them, swirling faster, reacting to her presence. Elara, the king rasped, you can't fight it. You don't know what it is. She closed her eyes. I hear what it is. The shadow behind him roared, a roar of grief, of centuries of pain, and attempted to leap forward, but the chains dug deeper into the king, tearing into his skin instead. The curse was bound to him. Hurting the shadow meant hurting him. Elara's heart clenched. This was the cruel design of the ancient spell. She drew in a breath and listened, past the roaring, past the darkness, past the fear. And she heard it. The shadow's heartbeat. It pulsed beneath his. Merged with his. Wounded with his. Not a monster's heartbeat. But a broken one. You're not trying to destroy him, she whispered. You're trying to survive through him. The shadow froze. Elara reached toward it, blind, trusting her gift alone, and her fingertips brushed its form. Shadow wolves didn't feel like fur or flesh. They felt like memory, regret, ache. When she touched it, the void trembled. A scream tore through the sky, the curse itself reacting. Light exploded from her palm. Not blinding. Beautiful. Silver, gentle, moonlit. It poured into the shadow, into the king, into every crack in his soul. The chains shattered. The throne room's screams returned as reality snapped back, she and the king collapsing in the real world, the curse shrieking as it convulsed around them. The shadow wolf burst out of the king in a violent wave of darkness, its form flickering, unstable, furious. Elara, the king gasped, clutching her as he regained control of his body. What did you do? Freed you, she said, breathless. But the shadow was not dead. It hovered before them, trembling, fading, yet alive enough to speak. Its voice echoed with the weight of centuries. One must die. Its shape distorted, eyes burning with ancient truth. For the other to live. The king's hand tightened around hers. Elara's heartbeat cracked. The shadow says, one must die for the other to live. The throne room froze. The words hung in the air like a blade suspended above both of them. The king tightened his grip on Elara's hand, shaking his head violently. No. I won't choose between us. I won't. But the shadow wolf, now a wavering mass of grief, memory, and power, drifted toward them, its voice trembling with ancient law. The curse needs a heart. The realm needs a balance. Light or shadow. One cannot remain. Elara felt her own heartbeat responding, merging, resisting. Their shared rhythm fluttered painfully, half his, half hers, two lives tangled too deeply for fate to separate. She knew then. The bond had grown too strong. Their heartbeats were no longer their own. Let it be me, the king growled, pulling Elara behind him. Take my life if you must. End the curse with me. The shadow recoiled, roaring in anguish. You are its vessel. If you die, the curse survives. Born again. Stronger. Elara stepped forward. Her breaths were shaky, but her voice steady. I understand. Elara, don't, the king whispered, fear splintering every word. She placed her hand over his chest, the place where their heartbeats had once collided, then synchronized. Your life keeps the kingdom alive. Your death would doom it. No, his forehead touched hers, trembling. I won't lose you. You already tried to once, she whispered, smiling sadly. And fate sent me back to you. The shadow wolf bowed its head, as if granting her final moments. Elara cupped the king's face, tracing every line as if memorizing him by touch. Thank you, she whispered. For letting me hear the one heartbeat that changed my life. Elara, please. I won't let darkness take you. She leaned forward and pressed her forehead to his, letting the bond open fully. Not resisting, not protecting, but surrendering. Her heartbeat surged. His heartbeat roared. And then. She gave hers away. The king gasped as a rush of light burst from her chest, slamming into him with violent force. His collapsed heartbeat reignited, booming, whole, healed. The shadow shrieked as the curse was torn from its roots, unraveling into silver ash that dissolved into the air. Elara, the king screamed as she sagged in his arms. Her body glowed, gently at first, then fiercely, like a star burning out. She wasn't fading into death. She was turning into light itself. Elara. Elara. His voice cracked, desperate, feral. She brushed his cheek one last time. I finally saw something, she whispered. His breath hitched. What? Love. And with a final, soft exhale. Elara dissolved into silver light that spiraled upward, stretching into the night sky. The moon caught her, embraced her, absorbed her. And glowed brighter than it ever had in centuries. The king fell to his knees beneath it, trembling, hollow, whole yet broken. Elara. His voice was a whisper swallowed by the wind. Years later. The king, now older, wiser, calmer, sat beneath the silver moon that had never dimmed since the night she vanished. He lifted a hand toward it, voice low and aching but peaceful. I know you're watching. My Elara. A soft breeze brushed past him. Then. The moon flickered. The ground vibrated. And high above the world, echoing like thunder wrapped in starlight. A single heartbeat pulsed across the sky. Ba-dum. The king's eyes widened. Elara. The moon flickers, and a heartbeat echoes across the sky.